Ever feel like, oh, the world runs on magic? Like, how do they actually make all this stuff?
Right.
Well, today's deep dive is all about sort of demystifying that magic, diving into the world of manufacturing engineering. And to help us with this, we've got some great info from our friends over at RoleCatcher.
Yeah, you guys shared this career path has you curious, so we're going to deliver the intel to help you figure out if it's the perfect fit.
Okay, so I got to admit, when I hear manufacturing engineer, my brain kind of jumps to, factories, lots of machinery, blueprints everywhere. Am I even close?
You're not wrong, but it's honestly way more dynamic than just like gears and grease.
Okay, so paint me a picture then.
Think of a manufacturing engineer as like the architect of how W things get made. They take an idea and figure out, the most efficient, cost-effective, high-quality way to bring it to life.
So they're the ones streamlining production, really squeezing every ounce of value out of the process. It's about more than just making things work. It's making them work brilliantly.
Exactly. They're analyzing every step, finding bottlenecks, and then engineering solutions. And those solutions could be anything from like optimizing a robot's movements to sourcing sustainable materials, all without sacrificing quality.
Wow, so this goes way beyond just like the technical know-how. You've got to be a problem solver, a visionary, almost like a conductor, keeping this whole orchestra of production in sync.
A conductor who isn't afraid to get their hands dirty.
I love that.
One of the things that surprised me, actually, in RoleCatcher's guide is just how adaptable this role is. Like one day you could be on the factory floor, the next you're analyzing data, and then you're off to a supplier's site, making sure their processes all align with your designs.
Wow, so definitely not your typical desk job then.
Yeah.
What's fascinating to me is how this role really impacts a company's bottom line. Because by increasing efficiency, reducing waste, that's money saved, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a key point that's often overlooked. But here's where it gets really interesting. This blend of technical expertise, A&D business acumen, it's pushing the boundaries of innovation in the field.
Yeah.
We're talking like AI-powered predictive maintenance, 3D printing, revolutionizing prototyping. It's a dynamic space to be in.
Okay, you've convinced me. This is way cooler than just factories. But let's get practical. What does it actually take to become this, like, master of efficiency, this manufacturing engineer?
Right, so a solid foundation in engineering is key. The RoleCatcher's guide, highlights a bachelor's degree as that standard entry point, and for good reason.
Yeah, makes sense.
We're talking about designing complex systems, understanding like material properties, navigating the world of automation.
So it's not just about, like, knowing how to work a machine. It's understanding the science behind it, right? The why and how it all comes together.
Exactly. So those common degree paths you see, mechanical engineering, industrial engineering, even manufacturing engineering itself, they all equip you with the tools to really analyze, design, and optimize these really complex processes.
And it makes sense that even a business degree could come in handy, right? Like you were saying earlier, that big picture understanding of how companies operate, especially, within a manufacturing context, can be a huge asset.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, brilliant engineering needs to make business sense too. But here's where RoleCatcher adds a layer that's often missed in those university brochures, real-world experience.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Internships, co-op programs, that's where theory meets the factory floor.
Yeah. You got to get your hands dirty, literally, and show you can apply that knowledge.
Precisely. And speaking of hands-on, get ready for a rapid-fire round of essential skills.
Hit me with it. I'm taking notes.
Okay. RoleCatcher dives deep into this, and it's way more than just knowing your CAD software. Reading comprehension is huge. You're navigating complex technical documents.
Right, of course.
Judgment and decision making are crucial. You're constantly weighing costs and benefits. Then there's systems analysis, understanding how all those moving parts, both human and machine, interact.
Okay, so that analytical mind is key. But what about the human element? We talked about collaboration. How important are those softer skills?
Oh, they're not just important, they're deal breakers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
RoleCatcher emphasizes active listening and speaking. You're working with diverse teams, from the engineers designing the product to the technicians on the floor, actually implementing your ideas.
So it's like being a translator almost.
Yeah.
Bridging the gap between those different worlds, making sure everyone's on the same page.
And here's the aha moment for me. Persuasion popped up as a crucial skill.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you might have the most brilliant process improvement, but if you can't convince management or your team on the ground, it goes nowhere.
It's not enough to be right. You got to bring people along with you. Show them the value of your ideas. That's fascinating.
And one more unexpected skill that really caught my eye, management of financial resources.
Okay, that makes sense though, right?
You need to be mindful of budgets, cost-benefit analyses. Your designs might be revolutionary, but they also need to be financially viable.
Totally. You're not just an engineer, you're a problem solver, a communicator, a bit of a financial whiz, all rolled into one. But let's talk about, you mentioned some complex concepts earlier, lean manufacturing, Six Sigma. Those sound pretty crucial in this field.
You're absolutely right. Those are like essential methodologies in modern manufacturing. So lean manufacturing, it's all about maximizing value while minimizing waste in every step of the process, from raw materials to the final product.
So it's about streamlining, eliminating redundancies, making sure every resource is used efficiently.
Exactly. And then there's Six Sigma, which aims to like reduce defects to near zero.
Wow.
We're talking a highly disciplined approach to identifying and eliminating like the root causes of errors and variations in manufacturing.
It sounds like those methodologies require a deep understanding of statistics, data analysis, process control.
Absolutely. And they're honestly highly sought after skills in a manufacturing engineer. Now you've got the skills, you're ready to launch your career. What's next? Well, let's explore the typical career trajectory for a manufacturing engineer.
Okay, so we've talked about the skills and the methodologies, but I'm curious, what does that actually look like in practice? What's the typical career path look like for a manufacturing engineer?
That's where RoleCatcher's insights really shine. They break down that like typical career ladder from those first steps out of university all the way to, leading the charge in innovation.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. Fresh out of school, degree in hand, you land that entry-level manufacturing engineer position. What's the day-to-day like?
Think of it as your boot camp.
Okay.
You're learning the ropes, working alongside like those seasoned engineers, maybe assisting in, designing processes, maybe conducting some research, like identify areas for improvement or even creating like manufacturing instructions.
So it's a lot of absorbing, proving yourself, really building those practical skills to complement your theoretical knowledge.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher's example profile at this level even mentioned like certifications in lean manufacturing and Six Sigma. It highlights how even early on you're expected to not just understand these methodologies, but, be able to apply them.
Yeah, it's like you've got the textbook knowledge, now prove you can actually implement it in the real world.
Right.
But what happens once you've paid your dues? What does that step up to junior manufacturing engineer look like?
This is where you start taking on more responsibility, maybe designing processes for specific production lines, spearheading those process improvement initiatives, maybe even conducting feasibility studies for new products. You're not just assisting anymore, you're owning projects.
Okay, so still collaborating closely with the team, but with a greater level of autonomy, ownership over your work. It sounds like problem solving and those communication skills are really put to the test here.
Absolutely. And that's reflected in RoleCatcher's example profile for this stage, too. They highlighted experience in troubleshooting production issues and creating manufacturing documentation. It's about, keeping things running smoothly and communicating those processes clearly to the team.
Love that. All right, so let's talk about those who are truly passionate about, shaping the future of manufacturing, climbing that ladder to the senior levels. What's the next step?
That's where we move from individual contributor to leader. Senior manufacturing engineers often lead teams. They're mentoring junior engineers, developing those, crucial process control plans, and working really closely with suppliers to make sure everything aligns with their, high standards.
It's a whole different ballgame now, right?
Yeah.
You're not just responsible for your own work, but guiding and inspiring a whole team to achieve those manufacturing goals.
Precisely, and RoleCatcher's example senior profile really drove that home. They mentioned leading process improvement initiatives, collaborating with suppliers to optimize materials, and even conducting training for, manufacturing personnel. This is where leadership and expertise truly intersect.
It sounds like continuous learning is key here, too. As technology evolves, those at the senior level, they need to be at the forefront, constantly adapting and innovating. But it doesn't end there, does it? What about that pinnacle position, the top of the mountain for a manufacturing engineer?
You're talking about the principal manufacturing engineer. This is like a strategic leadership role. They're setting the direction for the entire manufacturing operation. They're the ones spearheading the adoption of those cutting-edge technologies, mentoring both junior and senior engineers, their impact, echoing throughout the entire company.
Wow, talk about influence. It's not just about making things anymore. It's about shaping the future of how things are made. What kind of experience and qualifications do you even need to reach that level.
RoleCatcher's example profile for this position was honestly impressive. A PhD in manufacturing engineering, a string of high-level certifications. It really highlighted the importance of dedication to the craft and a commitment to pushing boundaries.
This whole career progression is inspiring. But I can't help but think about those interview questions lurking around each corner as you climb that ladder. What are some of the common ones RoleCatcher mentioned?
Well, remember, interviews aren't about reciting textbook answers. It's about showcasing your thought process.
Right. Okay.
So a common one is, what inspired you to pursue this career? It's your chance to let your passion shine through.
Show them you're not just there for a job. You're there to make a difference.
Exactly. They might ask about your experience with, quality control, process improvement, how you approach problem solving. Be ready with specific examples that demonstrate your expertise. Remember that day in the life we talked about? Weave that into your answers.
Show them you've been there, tackled those challenges, and come out on top. What about those softer skills, though? Do those come up in interviews?
Absolutely. Questions like, how do you manage relationships with suppliers? Or, describe a time you had to persuade a team to adopt a new process. Those are all testing your ability to communicate and collaborate effectively.
So it's not just what you know, but how you communicate it, how you bring people along on that journey.
Precisely. Another interesting one RoleCatcher highlighted was, how do you stay up to date with the latest manufacturing technologies? This speaks volumes about, your commitment to continuous learning, to staying ahead of the curve.
And remember, RoleCatcher's platform isn't just a source of information, it's your secret weapon. They're insights into what interviewers are looking for, that AI-powered interview practice feature. Those are invaluable tools.
Oh, they're game changers, helping you articulate your skills, practice those responses until you just exude confidence.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of manufacturing engineering, what are the key takeaways for our listener?
It's a field that's both, in demand and incredibly rewarding. We're not just talking about factories here. We're talking about the future of production, of innovation, of shaping the world around us.
And it's a career path with incredible growth potential. Whether you're passionate about robotics, sustainability, or leading teams to achieve those really ambitious goals, manufacturing engineering offers a platform for you to make a real impact.
And remember, the journey begins with that first step, right?
Right.
Whether it's researching degree programs, seeking out those internships, or connecting with someone, already in the field, those are the actions that turn aspiration into reality.
So listener, as you continue to explore this exciting world, here's something to ponder. How do you see the future of manufacturing evolving? And what role will you play in shaping that future?
That's an exciting question to consider.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the fascinating world of manufacturing engineering. We hope you feel informed, inspired, and ready to take that next step in your journey.
Until next time.